Hope so.
You're live.
Happy to Mishra.
What are you up to?
Happy to Bishvat.
What are you up
We are up to. We're on the. We got to the bottom of Nundal Ramadal. Yep. The cow, but careful because it comes apart. It's many pieces. So just hold it on the top. All right. So we are discussing Rav Nachman. The Shaila of, I got it online. I thought it was a lot larger and more detailed. It wasn't as good as advertised. We're discussing ad va'ad bichlal. Rav Nachman holds ad v'loy ad bichlal. We're going to explain what that means, how that affects us. Toshma. So again, Rav Nachman holds ad v'loy ad bichlal, that if you say until a certain thing, ad ki isar, it doesn't mean the isar itself. The measurement is up until the isar, but the isar itself is already the next category. Let's see inside. Toshma, all the way on the bottom of Daf Yomi Beis, 2 lines from the bottom. Toshma, hadakin shebekli cheres. You're talking about very thin earthenware. Hey v'kargo yisayim v'daf nisayim. Yoshvim shaloi misumachim. If their bottom, their sides, they could sit on their own. We're talking about tumah here, a kli that broke. How large does the kli have to be in order to still be mikabel tumah?
Once it becomes not a kli, it's no longer mikabel.
Yeah, once a kli breaks, it's not mikabel tumah. But if it could hold a certain amount of liquid, then it's still mikabel tumah. It's considered a vessel. So what's interesting is, here, I'll show you outside, and then we'll see it inside. This makes it a lot simpler, because the words are a little bit confusing. If a kli is up until a lug in our days is about a half a liter. This is a half a liter mug of beer. A pint? I don't know if that's a pint. But okay, what is this called in South Africa? There's a pint? Fine. If the kli is up to a lug, then all it needs to hold, the leftovers of the kli, the broken kli, have to hold kedei sicha, to anoint a baby that's a day old, its finger. How much is that? It's nothing. It's 1/100th, almost 1/100th of a lug. So the measurement is tiny. It's up to here, a tiny. I forgot to make a line here. If the kli is larger, it's a saw, then you need a revius of a lug, which is 25 times the amount. It has to hold 25 times more liquid than the smaller kli. The ability to hold a broken kli. Now, if it's a giant kli that's up to 2 saw, then it needs to be able to hold a half a lug. Okay, which is double of a revius. And if it's more than 2 saw, then it has to hold a whole lug. But if you notice, it says the lashon ad lug, meaning if this kli is up to a lug, what about a lug itself? What if this kli, in reality, this kli is exactly a lug. So this kli that's exactly a lug, is it kedei sicha or it's less than a lug? Is the lug itself, when the Mishnah says ad lug, doesn't mean up until a lug is a sicha, but let's say the lug itself maybe goes to this category. If it's exactly a lug, maybe it should jump up to a revius. No, if it's exactly a lug, it remains with a sicha. Again, this kli, if it's exactly a saw, this kli, what halacha does it have? Does it have the halacha of revius, or loyad bichlal, it jumps to the next category, and then it has to be able to hold a half a lug? That's the Gemara Shaila. It's just, if it's exactly the shear that it says, what is it? Is it like the shear, or is it the next category? That's all the Shaila is. Yeah. What do you want to know in terms of liters?
Yeah, in terms of liters.
A lug is a half a liter. So a chatzi lug is a quarter of a liter. Says the Gemara. Let's see it inside. So now we're holding Daf Nun and Aleph. Shiuron b'chdei sikas katan. How much does the kli have to hold? A sicha. The lashon is very interesting. Va'ad loig. Va'ad loig means that the kli is a lug, not how much it's holding. It could hold the little shard that's left over from the broken glass that sits nicely on its own, could hold kedei sicha which is like less. It's 1/96th of a liter. I don't know how much that is. What's 1/96th of a half a liter? Sorry, 1/96th of a half a liter. It's 1/96th of like 500 samak, according to the Chazon Ish, or 3. It is? Okay, so teaspoon. Seems like a lot to me, but okay, let's say it's a teaspoon. Va'ad loig, you see the lashon? Va'ad loig, sichas katan, va'ad loig, meaning when the kli is up to a log. My lav kilamato. What about if this kli is exactly a log? What shear does it get? A sicha? Or does it get the next shear in line, which is a revius? And therefore, kilamato would be bichlal, ad ubichlal, that it's bichlal this year, and that's not like Rav Nachman, because Rav Nachman says ad v'loy ad bichlal. According to Rav Nachman, it will be the following year, the next year of revius. So the Gemara, loy, lo kilamalo. There's no hechrach. So Mela, I'll say you're right. If your cup started off exactly the size of a lug, then it would have to hold the next year, which is a revius. Toshma. You might be, if you just arrived now, it might be a little confusing for the next 2 minutes. We're going to get to the next sugya. Toshma. Milug atso. What?
What is Taisus after that?
Who?
Taisus.
You want to know this whole Taisus? We're going to learn it soon. The whole thing from beginning to end.
At the end of this year,
Yeah, whoever wants to stay over afterwards. Toshma milug atso bervius. Next part of the Mishnah. It just continues. If you have the middle kli that's from a lug until a saw, look how big this kli is. A saw is 24 lug. This kli over here is 24 mugs. Okay? So if you have a giant kli like that broke, in order for one of the pieces to still have tumah, it has to be able to hold how much? A revius. How much is a revius? That's what we make kiddush on today. A revius of a lug. Revius is always a revius of a lug, a quarter of a lug. So what's the halacha if you have such a kli? My lav kilamato. So shouldn't it only have to hold a revius? Loi kilamalo. It has to hold a chatzi lug. It has to hold 2 reviuses.
Eli, if it has any purpose, isn't that good enough?
No, because it's not it has to have the original purpose. Yeah, you're right. Yes. In theory, you're right, but it has to remain the original kli. It has to remain the original kli, not stam. I think you can't take a glass bottle and make it into a needle. It has to be a glass bottle. So what's a glass bottle? It can hold a sicha. But if it's a giant glass bottle, then it has to hold a revius. If it's a giant bottle, it has to have chatzi log. That's the halacha.
We're talking about shards, though.
Yeah, but it has to have Kain the original. Kain original. It is Kain original. We had the sugya like a month ago. We had something like that. It can't be another use. It has to be within the same use. Listen, these are sugyas. All we care about the sugyas is advad b'chalal. Toshma miso vatzosaim. So now we're going to the last case. If the kli is the largest size kli, miso vatzosaim, b'chatzi lug, so that's all chatzi lug. My lab sosaim kilamato. So maybe you'll say yes, it has to hold this shear of chatzi lug. Loi sosaim kilamalo. The same teretz. It goes to the next year. What's the next year? Says Rashi, a full lug. If it's more than 2 saw, then the kli has to be able to hold a full lug. So as the Gemara usually does, it basically enticed us into saying these terutzim, kilamalo, and all of a sudden now, boom, v'asanyo, there's a mefurish brayso that says exactly opposite of all your terutzim that you just said. It says, lug, kilamato. If it's exactly a lug, you go to a sicha, not to a revius. So, kilamato, so saim, kilamato. You always go to the original shear. In other words, ad, ubichlal. Ad bichlal, and not like Rav Nachman. So this would be a kasha Rav Nachman. Rav Nachman says ad v'loy ad bichlal. It'll go to the next shear, and according to what we're just saying, it stays in the same shear. So what do? Comes the Gemara with a whole new pshat. Hasom lechumra. In other words, Rav Nachman is always going to take the most chumradik shita. Wherever he's at, he's going to say, "Let me look at the situation, and let me see what I should do." Sometimes I'm going to go ad vad bichlal. Sometimes I'm going to go ad vad veloy ad bichlal, depending on the situation.
By
So in our situation, let's look in our situation. What's more chamerdik? To say, if you have a piece of a kli, that it's tamei even with less liquid. So less liquid makes it tamei. Even a smaller piece remains tamei. That's a chumrah. To remain tamei is a chumrah. To say something's not tamei is a kula. To say something is tamei is a chumrah. So even less, so I go with the lesser shear, ad v'ad b'chlal. I go, if it's a small kli, all I need to hold is a small amount, a sicha, a teaspoon. If I go with the larger kli, then I go with the lesser amount, a revius. And if I go with the bigger kli, instead of going with the bigger shear, instead of saying I need a revius in order to make this tamei, I say all I need is kadei sicha. That's a chumrah. But by us in our sugya, when we're talking about a treifa, so I'm saying Ki'iser, I need the loy ad bichlal. In other words, if the hole is the size of an iser, then it's already the next category. It's not treif, it is treif. Treif is a chumrah. It's the chumrah. I'm saying that even the size of a coin, it goes to the next level. What's the next level? Treif. What's the previous level? Not treif. So if I would say it's not treif, that would be a kula. Comes Rav Nachman says, I always go l'chumrah. In the case of treif, I'm going to use the next category. What's the next category? Treif. I have two categories in treif. Either it's treif or it's not treif. If it's the size, anything below a size of a coin is not treif. And what about a coin itself? This exact size of a coin, I'm going to make it l'chumrah, I'm going to make it treif.
Are we saying that this midpoint is in fact a question of suffix? We just don't know what it is, and therefore suffix the ice in the chumrah.
Both directions.
Well, we're going to see in a second here. We're talking about the Rabbanon. So you want to be machmer. You can be machmer.
Yeah, but I mean,
Rabban is a kulik. Some Rabban is a kulik.
Let's see a little bit more. You always go l'chumra when it comes to shiur mechachamim. Chutz mikigrish ksamim laka. When it comes to nida, explains Rashi by nida midaraisa nida. If she sees dam, just seeing it doesn't make her tamei. Why? Because midaraisa she has to feel it. So if she sees dam, since it's only midarabanan, we are mekel. What's the shear of dam that she sees? Kigris, the size of a bean. So I could be mekel and say anything less than that, maybe it was a crushed louse. In those days, the lice used to have a lot of bloods, a lot more than they have today. So it could be up to the size of a bean. Now, what about the size of a bean? Exactly a bean. I could be machmer and say, oh, it's the size of a bean. She's tamei. Or I could say, no, the size of a bean is like the first shear. It means she's not tamei, and we're mekel with a nida. So that's the only shear. That's the only time that we're mekel by a nida. Dekanami, dektani alo, dahi. We had this case yesterday. I'll prove it to you from this case. What do we have yesterday? We had a bed with poles, and he's wrapping the poles from side to side. They didn't have the nice foam mattresses with springs. All they had is a string. If you were rich, you had a nice string that went from side to side, and you laid down on this mattress. You made yourself a mattress. They had these funny beds in those days. They would schlep it with them to the mikveh, put it in the mikveh, go back home. The kids it was interesting. Now, and talking about beds, in those days it says in the chamita you didn't have a single bed that didn't have like blood crushed from these lice. They used to sleep with lice, have lice as part of their life. Anyway, state in the Gemara, what if your string is you're done wrapping your mattress and now you have leftover string? We had this yesterday. If it's 5 tfachim, then it is tamei, and if it's 10 tfachim, so 5 tfachim is like the upper shear of tumah. If it's 10 tfachim, it's like the lower shear of tumah. Because anything above 10 tfachim, 11 tfachim, I don't need it anymore, so I'm going to cut it off, so it's not tamei. But I say 10, I'm going to go l'chumra and make it tamei, I'm going to go downwards. 5, I'm going to go upwards. So the kids are pick and choose. Whatever I want to do, I always make it l'chumra. By the way, what do you do with this rope? Well, what's the use? I finished my bed, and now I have a 5 tfachim rope. What do? Says Rashi, unbelievable. I have a great use for it. I could tie my goat and my sheep for my korban pesach. That's what people used to do. L'zeicher the korban. People in those days would tie their sheep to the bed for 30 days. They had now you know where the lice come from. And that's where the lice come from. Okay. L'zeicher l'chorban. Who? Oh, Hillel.
No, Reuven.
Reuven had a baby. Mazel tov. Wow, it's Masha.
Another Daf Yomi.
Another Daf Yomi thing. It's dangerous. This place is dangerous. I would recommend having to stay over there. Fine. Not for you, Doc. I mean, I know you want another one, but okay. Yeah. Wow, unbelievable. It's like within a month, no? 5 babies in a month? When was yours?
No, mine was a month, 2 days ago.
A month and 2 days. Okay, it's within. It's like you're saying Rubik Kekula mixes the same Kekula. Very nice. Okay. All right, brand new sugi, Rabbi Isai. Those of you who lost me during the Advad B'chlal, we're in a new sugi. The spleen was completely removed, kosher. Omer Rav Avira Mishmei Derava. You remember Avira? Hillel. This is your Reb Avira, the guy that was on the roof who wouldn't come down when Abai called him down. What?
This is an iron. Before it was an aleph.
Oh, so maybe it's not the same one. I was wondering. You sure it's with the aleph? Check it out over there. Omer Rav Avira Mishmei Derava. Lo Yishonu Elo Nital Avol Nikav, and over here it's Rav, not Abaya, but it makes sense. It was in the same generation. So comes Avira, and soon the Gemara is going to say we don't like Avira, we don't hold like him. But he says Lo Yishonu Elo Nital. If the spleen was completely removed, the animal could live a long time. Aval nikav treifa. But if the animal has a hole in his spleen, that's no good. Explains Rashi, because a hole in the spleen causes him a lot of pain and disease. He's worse off having a hole in his spleen than removing the spleen completely. Just remove it. Masiv Rabbi Yossi bar Oven. V'yitem Rabbi Yossi bar Zvido. Choytech me'uber shebimeo mutor ba'achila. Interesting halacha. If a person sticks his hand into a pregnant cow and cuts off one of the baby's limbs and leaves it inside the stomach, lets it stay there. So, by the way, this is the spleen right here, the green guy. So if you remove it completely, it's kosher. If you poke a hole through it, it's no good. Now, the pasuk says, so that's what we're going to go into. The pasuk says like this. Anything that's in the behema, inside the behema, in its stomach, is kosher. You could eat. So even if you chopped off an aver from the animal, you cut off its foot and you left it inside to cook, and then you shech the mother, then it's okay. Then you're allowed to eat it. Now, if the baby was born, and its leg remained inside the mother, and then you shechted the mother, then you can't eat the leg. It's a sugi later on in this Masechta. You cannot eat it. It's because the baby was, you shechted the mother, you did a ben pekua, so then you could also eat the aver. Now, what's negiyat us? It says, minat choylu minat klois. Now we're moving away from a pregnant animal. We're going to a regular cow. A guy goes, mamish of Russia, goes into the cow, cuts out the spleen of the cow, or cuts out the kidney of the cow, but leaves it inside. He doesn't need it. He wants it to be inside. Now, what's the halacha? Also ba'achila. Even if you shech the mother, since it was detached, it still has halacha of ever minachai. Why? Now all of a sudden we don't use this word ba'behema, even though it's inside the behema. Now we're using the next word, oisa. Oisa means it has to be whole, shalem, so you can't have a cut aver. Now, if we medayik, the simple pashtus of just the diuk, how you read the words, it says, if you cut the kidney or the spleen, you're not allowed to eat the spleen, meaning I could eat the mother. I could eat the animal. I shech the mother. Don't eat everything, but be careful, don't eat the spleen. But wait a minute, I shouldn't be able to eat the spleen. Why? Because I cut it. I cut part of the kidney, I cut part of the spleen. Zog the Gemara, says the Gemara, no. When it says that you're not allowed to eat the spleen, it means you're not allowed to eat the mother also. So why does it say you're not allowed to eat the spleen? It should say you're not allowed to eat everything. I did the Torah Reisha, mutabachila, because the Reisha says that when you cut a part of the baby, you're allowed to eat it. So Memela, I'm continuing with the same kind of lashon and saying you're not allowed to eat it, referring to the spleen. But really, the halacha is you're not allowed to eat the whole animal. Says the Gemara, maybe you could say you're allowed to eat the whole animal. The only thing you're not allowed to eat is the spleen or the kidney. Nigav lechod v'nechtach lechod. There's a difference between cutting off a part of the spleen or puncturing a hole in the spleen. I can make a distinction. I could say, if I poke a hole right through the spleen, the animal is going to die eventually from disease. It has a lot of pain. But if I cut nicely, I cut off a piece, the animal has less pain for whatever reason. I can make such a distinction. Says the Gemara, it says in the Mishnah, if the two kidneys were removed, it's kosher. Omer rochish bar papa, another halach, mishmei derav. Lokso b'kul yachas, what if one of the kidneys was diseased?
You cut the kidneys out, it'll die.
Yeah, that's what happens when you weren't here. That's what happens when you're not here. Don't let everybody know. But we noticed, we did notice. So they said it's a good kasha, very good kasha, and they said is the hardest thing to understand in Elu Treifos. And one of the things they said, for those who weren't here, is that they did a study, a 7-day study, and the animal's extremely healthy, it lost its appetite. It was very healthy. Unlike a human.
You can always listen to the YouTube videos.
Right.
Subscribe.
First you have to subscribe, and then you have to listen, but he doesn't have YouTube. Mamela, you're not allowed to miss ever.
You're saying it was 2 kidneys were taken out and continued.
You were here yesterday, no?
7 days.
No? Oh. So if you take out the 2 kidneys, it's kosher. Says Rachash Bar Papa, but if you have a diseased kidney, even one, certainly 2, it's a problem treifa. I remember so they said it's Yisrael. This is only l'makoim charetz. That's only if it came to the charetz. What's the charetz? So if you look at this kidney right over here, or in the art scroll, taken with permission from the art scroll, this is the charetz, this white stuff over here. This is actually a real picture, a real kidney of a deer, and you see over here, this is sliced open, and there's a lot of white, this is the charetz. So, if the disease came in like in the direction of the knife, came from here, and hit the white, then it's treif. But if it didn't hit the white, the disease went into the kidney without hitting the white, it's kosher.
If the disease goes in the kidney or...
No, afterwards, when you pop it open.
I'll let it...
Yeah, you'd see.
Okay, just call it.
The white part that's underneath the loins. I asked all the people, I don't know if you remember, recently we had the Lashon Rabbanan Treifai, the people that made treif. But these over here is talking about the people that are mumchim in treifus of Eretz Yisrael. The halacha is like Rachash Bar Papa. We just said that if you have a kidney that has a disease, it's treifa. And the halacha is not like Rav Avira that says that if you have a hole in the spleen, it's a treifa. And when it comes to a hole, that Rav Avira said that it's treif, it's only in the small part of the spleen that's not treif. But even we admit that the spleen it looks like a tongue, let's say, and there's a thick part and gets thinner. The thick part is what's attached to the liver. So that thick part is very sensitive, and if you make a hole through and through, as we're going to see, then it's treif. But if you make a hole on the part of the spleen that's not attached to anything, it's just flapping around, it doesn't make a difference. It's not treif. If you punched a hole through the spleen, but it didn't go through the spleen completely through and through, whereas it still has a little bit the thickness of a dinar, then it's kosher. So they said in Eretz Yisrael a blanket statement that anything that passes a lung, such as a hole in the lung, kosher b'kulya. A hole in the kidney is kosher. You see that a hole in the lung is possible, but a hole in the kidney is kosher. And so certainly something that's possible in a lung is kosher in a kidney. So something that's kosher in a lung, of course, should be kosher in a kidney. Is this a real statement? Vare mugla, you have pus. The kosher bereya. We had the other day. What happens if the lung of the animal is plugged? So you take a knife, it says that the knife, you check, and if you open up and you see a lot of pus, you could attribute it to the pus, and memela is kosher. Pus doesn't passel. So what's the problem? Says the Gemara, Vari mayim zakim. Ubaz b'chulya.
But by Chulya,
By chulya, it is pas. Pas b'chulya. This pas we said a second ago. On the bottom of Nun Hey Amud Aleph, it says Loksa b'chulya, and Rashi over there says it means pas. How do you have a diseased chulya? You have pas, and pas in a chulya is not a problem. We don't pass him like that it's a problem. It says the Gemara, Masculine chulya klalu, pas b'chulya. Varemayim zakim, clear water, the ksherim hacha v'hacha. They're kosher over here and over there. Says Rashi, lo yadana my kushya. I have no idea what the Gemara's question is from this. Tosfos says that what the Gemara means to say is that water is worse than pus, and it doesn't passel a kidney. Whereas, I'm sorry, and pus does passel a kidney, like we said on Nunei Amud Aleph, and water doesn't. And water should be worse than pus. How come it doesn't work like that? Elamar Ravashi, right? Because if you have pus in a kidney, no, it belongs somewhere in the body, pus. But water doesn't belong in the body, it doesn't belong in the kidney. So what's water doing there? It should be mamish treif, and it's not treif. Elamar Ravashi, treif is kamidam is not dodi. You can't compare a treif of a lung to a treif of a kidney. What treif is a lung doesn't treif a kidney. What treif is a kidney doesn't treif a lung. And I remember treif is zoydem elizum. Sharei chaytcha mekanu mesa, chaytcha mekanu v'chaysa. I don't know if you remember, we just had recently this exact lashon, and Rashi over there says that if you cut above the tzayim sagidim closer to the body, it's kosher. But if you cut the meat below the tzayim sagidim, below the knee joint, it's treif. Where logic would say the opposite. Anything closer to the body should be treif. Further away, lower down the leg should live. Over here, Rashi uses a different case. Although the on the side the Bach adds it. What does the Rashi say over here? Rashi says that if I cut an animal in his neck, he'll die. But if I cut an animal in another place, he won't die. In other words, each part of the body has a different din and halacha, and has a different effect on the animal. So water over here could affect the animal, pus over there could not affect the animal, could affect over here. You can't bring a raya from one organ to the other organ. It says Gemara Ma'im Zakim Ksherim, and clear water, also Le'amar Nelo, the tzili has to be completely clear. Avlachiri, water that's cloudy, does make the animal treifa. And clear water, even if it's literally clear like regular drinking water, but you have to make sure it's not smelly. Avasriach treifa, smelly water, even clear, makes the animal treifa. Hakul yoshiktina, if it's shrunk in size, the kidney. Bedaka, if it's a small animal, at kaful, until the size of a bean. Begasa, ad ka'anova beinoinis, in a larger animal, it could shrink up to the size of a medium grape, which is obviously larger than a pool.
with the water, the manzaka was in the animal?
In the kidney.
Found it.
Yeah, in the kidney. Whatever.
Can't say this club.
No, there's no kla, right? We slugged up the kla. Nita lechia tachtoin, not so sure if this is part of the Gemara, but anyways, we're going to read it. Omer Reb Zera, right? If you remove a jaw of an animal, the animal l'chari can't live. So Gemara says, oh, Gary's here. Gary's here. Come, sit over here, Gary. There, he can take good care of you. Yeah. Omer Reb Zera leishana l'sheichor l'chias hadei li'ito b'hamro. When, if you remove the bottom jaw, when is the animal kosher? When you could force feed it, a human can intervene and keep it alive. So here, all of a sudden, we have another treifa called nita lechneach tachton. I think it's in the first Mishnah, and it's a treifa. Nitlo ahim shelo. If the uterus was removed. Here's the uterus. Yesterday we didn't show the picture. Today we're going to show the picture. This is the uterus of an animal. Zog the Gemara. And this is for you, Hillel, I think. I think it was you that made me problems when we learned it the first time. Tano, hi ha'im. The same lashon is used as ha'im, hi, tarpachas. Later on the Gemara is going to use the lashon of tarpachas. So when we use tarpachas, remember, it means the uterus. Vi shalpuchis, and we used before the lashon of shalpuchis as well. So they're all three mean the same organ. If an animal is scared by Shamayim and it shriveled its lung, what does that mean? It saw lightning, it heard thunder, and its lung shriveled, it got harder. Then it's kosher. But if the same thing happened through human scaring, they pulled a prank on the animal, they blew one of those horns, and the animal freaked out and like this, and its lung shriveled up, it's treif. Why? What's the difference? The difference is that if it happens with the shomayim, it could heal. Happens with the adam, it's a different type of shrivel. It's not going to heal. Says the Gemara Rabbanon. Yeah, the Rambam says if it scares by shchita. So maybe according to the Rambam, she's a niyah kasher.
She's not animal being shechted.
No, how do you know?
No, right. So if you don't know, you don't know. But you saw, according to the Rambam, that it sees other animals getting shechted. That's why it's scared. According to the Rambam, you know, it just happened now in the Beis HaShchita. I'm saying if you have a reason to believe, you know, you blew the loud horn. What is it called? Those the Ayin Sham. I'm not going to say the lashon, but this is right. Purim. V'charusa b'dei shomayim tanu rabbanon ezi charusa kol shetzam koreya shelo b'dei shomayim kshera b'dei adam treifa. If it happens by humans, then it's treif. Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar Omer af b'dei kol habriyos. What is Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar saying? Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar says even something else other than a human. Let's say, says Rashi, a lion roared and got the animal really scared. Back to the jungle. Then what? Then it's treif or kosher. What is Rabbi Shimon saying? Says the Gemara, Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar, Areishikoi Ulukula, is he saying that it's like the Shemayim, just like Shemayim, an animal is kosher, so too if a lion roars is kosher, or he's saying, just like a human makes it treif, so a lion also makes it treif. Tashma, the Sanyo, Charus v'dei Odom, treifa, Reb Shimon ben Elazar, so obviously Reb Shimon ben Elazar is going on the treifa. Not only is it treifa b'dei Odom, but also through the lion and the story. That's the end of that sugya. Rabbi Vachan is walking in the desert. He noticed that there was rams that they had. He shechted them, and he opened it up, and he saw that they're. So this answers Moshe's kasha. I should have known the answer. He noticed that the lung was shriveled. Now he does, but he has no idea. It's brand new to him. There's no shchita taking place. There's no reason to believe it happened to Adam or b'dei Shemayim. So what do you do? As a shol b'midrasha, he asked the shaylim beis medrash amrulei. Basically, what they told him is, you put it in water for 24 hours, and you see. If it heals itself, that means it was b'dei Shemayim, because it could heal itself. If it doesn't heal itself, then it's b'dei Adam, it doesn't heal. Now, the only difference the Gemara says is, you need to keep the water lukewarm, let's say. Don't let it get too cold. So what do you do in the winter? You start off with warmer water, make sure that the weather doesn't make it cold. What do you do in the summer? You start off with cold water because the sun is going to... And what kind of kli do you use? In the winter you use a black kli because black in the sun, it keeps the water warm. In the winter you use a white kli. Bekaito, aisi mishachli chivari, you use white. Umalinu mayo kri, you put it in cold water. Vanchinu meisleis, and you leave it there for 24 hours. Ihadrim baryon, if it gets healthy, b'dei shomayim yukshera. V'iloi treifa. V'sisvasa, what do you do in the winter? Aisi mishichlis shichumei, you take a black kli, umalinu mayo peshari, put warm water. Vanchinu meisleis. Ihadro baryo kshera. If it became healthy again, so it had the ability to heal itself anyways, so then that means it happened b'dei shomayim and it's kosher. V'iloi, and if it doesn't heal itself, then it means it happened b'dei Adam and it's treifa. If anybody did an experiment b'dei Adam b'dei shomayim, let me know.
I don't know if they took these.
They killed the ram, and after shechita they took its lung and put it in water for 24 hours.
Even after it's dead.
If it goes back to what it was before, it's not woody anymore. It's not tough. Then
In the water, goes back to regular shape. Right?
the water would indicate that it would be able to heal itself eventually. All right, we learned in the Mishnah Gluda.
It should be the other way around. In the winter we should bring a black one. So
That's why I said black by mistake. I made a mistake because I also thought black things in the winter. You know, the sun always hits the black and makes it hot. That's why I thought, but it's not. Some people say it's not really a kli; it's a type of a kli. It's Rashi brings another.
Light.
So that's why in the winter it should be black to make it a nice like that.
Right, so in the winter it should be black. That's why I thought in the winter it was black. Anyways, it's fine. No, in the winter it says.
Winter is black.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, perfect. It works out great. Yeah.
The house you're standing up to is an Arab house or a Jewish house.
Right, they have the black things on top. Right.
The Jewish house has always got a white shells.
So isn't that good for the Arabs? It makes it hotter in the winter. Fine. Hagludo. Hagludo. Yeah. Every time we drive and we're next to those black dudi shemesh, my wife starts. Are we in the Arab territories? I see black dudi shemesh. Yeah. Hagludo. So if an animal is flayed and it doesn't have skin, it's kosher. Torah Rabbanon machloikis. Torah Rabbanon Hagludo Rebbe Meir machshir v'chachamim poislam. So in the Mishnah it says, Remei says kosher, Chacham say pasul. At the end of the day, generation before that, generation before we said it's pasul. So Amar Reb Shimon ben Elazar Chazar Remei. You're right. There is no machlokes. Everybody holds that a flayed animal without skin, it's not going to live. It's treif. Even Remeir took it back, retracted, and said that it's treif. Mechlal Reb Shimon ben Elazar. Polig, the Reb Shimon ben Elazar, Polig Remeir begludo. So you tell me that according to Reb Shimon ben Elazar, eventually he retracted, but there was once upon a time a machlokes between Remeir, and that Remeir held its kosher. Reb Shimon ben Elazar, lo nechliku Remeir. There was never a machlokes; it never existed. You just tell me that it retracted, that there was a machlokes. Lo nechliku Remeir v'chacham ha'gludo sheb'sula. Ugvayed Reb Shaya ben Oisha Reb Yehuda Habasam, the son of the perfumer, only if there was left over the size of a coin, a kesel, then it's kosher. Says the Gemara, when it says the Reb Shimon ben Elazar says there was no machlokes between Remeir and Chacham, he didn't mean literally there's never machlokes. He means it didn't stay the machlokes, but there was once upon a time a machlokes, and Remeir retracted. Omamar. If the one coin, it seems like one coin, the size of a seller, remains on the whole entire animal, this huge animal, you have a tiny little coin somewhere, it's kosher. Heicha, where's this skin? Where could it regenerate itself and it remained that it's kosher? Anywhere down the spine, if there's a coin, it's good. Iboilu. The orach v'katin, is it the size of a sela, meaning it's, let's say, the size of a fishing line, but goes from the top of the spine all the way down to the bottom, but it has to go from top to bottom. How do you get a sela from top to bottom? If it's extremely thin and you roll it up, it'll be the size of a sela. Or maybe it's 1,000 selas. It's the width of a sela, but it goes from here all the way down the animal. Who knows how many selas that's? So it's a pretty large here. Tashma the Parish Rabbeinu Roy Mishmei the Shmuel Beroichav Kisela Al Pnei Kol HaShidra Kulo. Yes, it has to be the width of a sela, and it goes down the entire spine. Rabbi Bachan Omar Roshei Prokim. It has to be a sela on each and every joint. Check this out. Here's a joint. Here's a joint. Here's a joint. Where else are joints? Over here.
The entire vertebrae.
The entire vertebrae. These are all joints. So when it says a joint, it means many, many joints over here, and maybe by the neck. The kids are all over. On each one. Then it could regenerate. I'm assuming, I don't know, I didn't see anywhere, but I'm assuming because it's a hard place for skin to grow. So if you have it on these hard places to grow, then it'll grow at other places. And that's why the Gemara is going to ask. On its belly button, also a hard place to grow. What if it's completely with skin? The entire animal has skin. It's just removed from those hard places to regrow. So maybe it'll never regrow and the animal's treif. Take Omarav. So comes Rav, another shita. I could have the size of a sela anywhere on the animal. I don't care where. Anywhere. Chutz me'or beis haprosos. What's or beis haprosos? On its hooves. Now you would think that a hoof is all the way down here. Says Rashi, no, a hoof starts all the way up here. By the arkuva, by the joint. That all the way down, that's a different kind of skin.
The knee joint?
From the knee joint, yeah. So even if it's below, from the knee down, it's also matzel. Boy minei Reb Asi and Reb Yochanan on the same question. Or beis haproses ma'u shatz begluda amar lei matzel. Even though it's very thin and very soft down here, if there's a little bit, one sela of skin over here, the animal will heal itself. It's not considered a treifa. So he asked him, Amalei, Nimaton Rabbeinu, you taught us, Elu Shorisem Kipsaram. These are the skins that have halacha of basar. If there's an avela, it's because there are skins that are similar to meat, meaning they're soft like meat. They have the halacha of b'kazayis. What is it? Or beis haprosos. So you see mefurish that the skin down here doesn't have halacha of real skin. It has halacha of meat, and that's why it's mitave b'kazayis. So why are you telling me that it has halacha of skin that's going to regenerate from there? Omalei, atakniteni, don't irritate me. So you bring me a raya from this Mishnah. I just repeated this Mishnah as a das yachid, but I don't hold like this Mishnah. Why? We're talking about pigul. Going back to zvachim menachas. Talking about pigul. So if you're talking about an oila, how do you do pigul on an oila? You say to yourself, I am going to be makter this animal mechutz l'zman and mechutz l'makom. You can't say on an oila, I'm going to eat it, because oila is not edible. So you say I'm going to be makter it. That's why the Gemara uses the lashon hashaychus oila lahaktir kezayis meor tashatachas al yochutz l'makom. Now, do you put the skin of certain places on the mizbeach? How about the skin underneath the tail? Look, right over here, underneath the tail. There's no hair. It's a very, very soft skin. Maybe that's not something that you put on the mizbeach. Says the Gemara. Says that this is what Rabbi Yochanan was quoting. The Tanakama holds. Or shetachas ha'alyo chutz l'mkoymoy posel. Yes, the or shetachas ha'alyo has the halacha of something you put on the mizbeach, and therefore chutz l'mkoymoy posel v'embekaros chutz l'zmano. It's real pigul v'chayim of course. Now, so that's what we hold like, says Rabbi Yochanan. I hold like the Tanakama. That's the main shita in that brisa. But you were quoting Eliezer ben Yehuda ish Ivlim, Omar Mishum Rabbi Yaakov, v'chen Hoyer b'Shimon ben Yehuda ish Ikois, Omar Mishum Rabbi Shimon. Bekitzer, these are das yachids. We don't pass like them. That what? Echador beis haprosos, ve'echador harosh legalrach. Very, very thin skins below the hoof, by the hoof, and the head of a egel, says Rashi, one that still nurses. Ve'echador shetachas ha'alyo, and below the tail. All the skins that are matama, that they're like meat, lahavi, to include or beis haboishes, if it's a female, a private part, says Rashi, the rechem, which is interesting because we're talking about an oila, so there is no beis haboishes, but maybe they say that even a male in that area is like beis haboishes. Chutz l'mekayim pasol v'ein by kares, chutz l'zmanu pigul v'chayavim olav kares. I Rabbi Yochanan hold that or beis haprosos is matzil. Your shita that you brought down, you wanted to ask me a kasha from a Mishnah, that's Rabbi Yehuda ish ikois, it's a das yochid, that it's not matzil, that it's not considered skin. Ad kan, tomorrow we'll start from the Mishnah. Have a wonderful day.